prepare students to compete in a global, knowledge-based innovation economy. And that means they need a lot of 21st century skills like collaboration and inquiry and information finding. And yet, the paper and pencil item-based tests that we have can't really measure those skills. They can measure simple things well, but they can't measure complex intellectual or psychosocial performances. And we know that what's measured determines what's taught. So we have to have new forms of assessment that are fair, that are valid, and that are reliable. This project is attempting to develop one such form of assessment.
We're trying to teach inquiry with a hands-on approach. So if we teach it a certain way, and we're trying to simulate the way science is done in the field, where the students are doing and not just reading and analyzing data, that comes later, but where they're actually collecting data and doing it, to assess it on pencil paper seems to defeat the purpose, because that's really not the skill that we're always after. So I think to assess them in a different way, where they're actually doing the task that you want to find out about, is a more valid approach.
In this project, we are exploring how we can actually assess student inquiry skills via these immersive environments, which we're calling virtual performance assessments. So we've developed 3 assessments that we hope are getting at students' inquiry process skills, their ability to come up with a claim, their ability to reason from evidence, reason from data, and to conduct an experiment. Students are used to recipe-type labs where they have to follow steps and then complete the experiment. And so we're trying to do away with that, and what we're doing is we put students in an open problem space, we give them the problem, and they have to figure out what's causing it, solve it, and come up with a claim using their own evidence that they've collected.
Welcome to the demo of the Virtual Performance Assessment Project. When students log into the assessment, they select an avatar that they want to represent them in the virtual world. The assessment opens with an aerial view of the environment. In this particular assessment, there is a village with 4 farms. The camera slowly focuses in on a 6-legged frog. The farmers in the village have competing hypotheses for what caused a 6-legged frog. Students' role in the assessment is to build a claim for what caused a 6-legged frog. They will need to support this claim with evidence and reasoning. There are 4 different types of actions students can perform in the assessment. They can inspect data in the world, talk to residents, conduct research, and run tests in the laboratory. Students can save data they think is important. They then take that data to the lab and run tests. Students have a scratch pad they can use to keep notes on their investigation. After students have gathered enough evidence and are ready to build their claim, they talk to Dr. Didi. Students then build a claim and identify evidence that supports it.
Virtual assessments, I think, could play a role in assessing students' scientific inquiry because, one, they find them engaging and really motivating instead of anxiety-producing and on a piece of paper. That is just fact-based. They really get into the world and into the shoes of a scientist to be able to show what they know. Also, in terms of availability of testing inquiry skills, I could do it in a lab or I could do it in the field, especially with ecology, but we don't have the ability to go on lots of field trips and need to have the time to be able to test them in those environments. So having virtual assessments would be a great tool.
Now we're at this perfect confluence of time. We've got advances in technology, we've got advances in measurement models, we've got advances in research on cognition and how students learn. So we're at this point now where we have everything in place to create these assessments for students that can really assess their 21st century skills, their ability to problem solve and think critically. And this is the future of assessments.
I was one of 15 people on the technical working group for the 2010 U.S. National Educational Technology Plan. That had 5 sections: learning, assessment, teaching, infrastructure, and productivity. And the last day, when we had finished up and we were talking amongst ourselves, we agreed, if we don't get the assessments, the rest of the plan is meaningless. We have to have next generation assessments for the 21st century. So our hope is that this project will reveal the strengths and limits of immersive interfaces as a form of assessment, and will help us as a country move forward to develop better ways of measuring the skills that we know that students need.